Starting October 1st, most rideshare passengers going to Logan Airport will get dropped off in a central parking garage, not curbside at the terminal. Given how many people take Uber or Lyft to get there, this new rule has rankled plenty of passengers, but not everyone is complaining. WGBH's Arun Rath looks at one group which stands to benefit from that change.
When it comes to getting to Logan on time, these days there's a clear favorite.
Uber. Yeah, Uber.
Rideshare services like Lyft and Uber have largely displaced taxis as the favored way to get to and from the airport with the most convenience and least cost. But starting in October, rideshare gets a little less cheap and convenient. It'll cost an extra $3.25 to get picked up by rideshare at the airport. And rideshares will no longer be able to drop off passengers at the curb. Most of the day, drop-offs and pickups will take place at a garage across the street from the terminal.
I mean, that's a problem for someone who comes frequently to the airport and has time management concerns with her family and her job.
It'll be disruptive for you.
100%, yeah. Very disruptive.
But the new rules sound like good news for the taxis, now vastly outnumbered by the rideshare cars. An old-fashioned taxi can still drop you right at the terminal.
It is going to help to the level playing field. It's going to help.
Felix Schnurr started driving a taxi in Boston 30 years ago and now runs MetroCab in Allston. He says ride-sharing services have hurt the taxi industry across the board, but the airport rides bring the devastation into sharp relief for his drivers.
Airport pickups, they were probably at least 50 or 60% of the fares.
Schnurr says heavily regulated taxis can't compete with largely unregulated ride-sharing.
The whole industry is suffering. Big time. It's a cancer patient. And the cancer is ride-sharing companies.
Taxis have to pay a higher toll to get out of the airport and pay for additional inspections every 6 months. And while there's no limit to the number of ride-sharing cars, there are a limited number of taxi medallions available in Boston. And the value of those medallions has plummeted.
3 years ago, the price for the taxi medallion was over $700,000. Right now, it's below 40. It's $36,000. And imagine the people who paid $700,000 for the medallions, bankrupt.
He doesn't understand why the rideshares get to work by different rules, arguing they're basically just dispatchers using a smartphone app.
I have application. We have an application in the MetroCab. Pretty much every taxi company has their own applications. It's not a big deal. It's just another way to hail the taxi.
He says the new airport rules are too little, too late.
It's a Band-Aid. And you cannot cure the cancer with the Band-Aid. So we are on the verge of, disappearing.
With Uber and Lyft so established and so popular with commuters, Schnurr thinks there's no way to roll back the clock.
You can't stop progress.
Arun, good to see you.
Likewise.
Can't tell you how guilty I'm a Lyft kind of guy. I feel horrible. I'm assuming that nobody has come up with a plan to help with people losing their livelihoods, losing their investments and their medallions. Yes?
Well,
no?
There is actually a government plan. I knew nothing about this, but did you know that every time you take a Lyft, you're contributing a nickel to a fund that's supposed to be helping out modernizing and helping out the taxi industry?
I did not.
Yeah.
And really? And how much have they raised for this?
According to the Boston Globe, over $3 million, about 65 million trips added up to.
$3 million is going to cab drivers?
More than $3 million. It's not gone to the cab drivers. It's actually.
Where's it gone?
It's not really been spent yet. This is, again, according to the Boston Globe's reporting. About $50,000 has been spent, but for a consulting firm that's going to study the problem, interview taxi drivers, but not.
So the $3 million raised for the taxi drivers has yet to go to the taxi drivers.
Correct. Yeah.
Sounds like a great plan to me. Can we talk about the actual rideshare setup at the central garage? Is this as Long March-like as it sounds like to me, or no?
I don't think it's going to be as bad as that, Jim.
Why?
The details of it. I think we were all dreading the idea of having to schlep with our bags and our kids, like walk a block. They're going to have a curbside check-in there in that garage. So you'll be able
for your bags?
Yeah. So you'll be able to check your bags there and then walk unencumbered is how it sounds to the terminal.
But what do you do with your kids? You put your kids on the baggage thing and have them go into the terminal?
That's what I do.
Goodbye, Arun. See you later. Thanks for your story.